Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable Dresden plate block. So this block is actually really easy to make. It might look a little complicated, but it's not at all. And it's a great stash buster because as you can see, all of these pieces are quite small. And so you can really mix and match your fabrics and come up with something totally unique. So let's go ahead and dive right in and I will show you how to make this block. So today I'm going to be showing you how to put together a Dresden. Now I did this in my little zipper bag that I put a Dresden on, so I will link that here so that you can check that out as well. But I wanted a video dedicated on how to assemble a Dresden plate. So the first step is just to pick some fun fabric. And I've chosen this beautiful line. This is called Canning Day by Corey Yoder, and it's got a lot of fun springy prints in it. So we're going to be using that today. Now the first step is just to cut out your templates. And so most patterns that you have for Dresden plates will come with some sort of a template. There's all different size Dresden blades, and these are the blades that I'm going to be using in my April quilty truck of the month. And so I'll kind of show you what that looks like at the end of this video. But today we're going to just show you how to put them together. So my quilty truck of the month for April does have a template that you can print out and then just cut it out. You can put it on cardstock or paper and then just cut around that to cut out your little blades. They also have acrylic rulers you can buy. There are all kinds of different sizes for Dresdens. For this one, I went ahead and pre-cut out my little Dresden blades, and these are so easy to put together, but I did want to show you how. So you're going to just take one of your Dresden blades and we're going to fold it in half lengthwise so it right sides together, so the pretty side of the fabric is touching. And then I just kind of finger press it a little bit. You can press it with an iron if you like. And then you're just going to take this over to your sewing machine and just sew right down this edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can throw a clip on here if you really want and just prep them all, but really I'm just going to fold them in half. Just make sure they're straight. Being accurate on your Dresdens is going to help you out quite a bit, but it really is not difficult. Okay, and now we can take these all over to our sewing machine and we're just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam right along that top flat edge. And then this one down here is just the skinny edge. So you want to make sure you folded it and clipped it at the top wider edge. All right, and here we have all of our little blades. And I just chain pieced them so they're still attached, so I'm just going to cut them apart. So for this part I am going to be using this Hera marker point turner. So it's a Hera marker on one edge and a point turner on the other, and this is just by Clover. And I just stick my finger kind of inside and then put my other finger here and I just kind of flip it out so that you've got this little point. And then I'm going to use my point turner just to make sure that point is nice and turned out. Now I'm going to go ahead and just do that to all of these really quickly. It'll only take us just a couple seconds here. I'm going to turn them all out and then we're going to press them all at the same time as well. And we're like halfway done with our Dresden. This is how easy this is. Okay, now of course you're going to want to make more than this. For this project we only need 5. And now we're going to press these. Now the key to pressing these is just to make sure that they're really straight. So when we folded it in half before, we have this, you can kind of finger press, but you have that crease running down the middle. You just want to make sure that you line up your seam with that crease and then you can press it. The other thing I like to do on my mat is put my point right into a corner like that and then put that crease kind of along these lines. But as long as this seam right here continues on down that center line of your fabric crease, you should be good to go. And I'll usually press it from front and back. And I actually had my little roller here because I wanted to show you if you don't want to sit here and press all these, sometimes it's faster. I'll line it up on my mat, just like I said before, and just make sure that point looks like it's secure. And then I'll roll it. And there you have a Dresden plate. Now I'm going to go ahead and press mine just, you know, because I have my iron here. But if you have a lot of these to make, sometimes I will just roll them like that and I won't worry about it. until after I'm done, and then I'll press them all. Okay, and so now we have all of our little blades prepared, and now we just need to go ahead and sew them together. And so I go ahead and lay them out in the order that I think I want them. And then I'm just going to take these over to my sewing machine, and what we're going to do is just place these right sides together, and I just go ahead and kind of line them up here at this top fold, and then all the way down that side, and then down here. But if you have to make an adjustment, I would make sure it's lined up here. Down here is going to get covered up, so it's not really going to matter anyway. So just make sure you line up these. But if you've pressed them all pretty accurately, I mean, you can't even tell that one's laying underneath there really, then they should all line up nicely. So we're going to go ahead and take these to our machine, and we're just going to sew them together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I am going to come over here in between and just press them. You can press these open. I prefer not to. I press them to one side. I think it just lays nicer. Now I'm just going to keep adding my blades, and again I'm just lining up right here at this top. And then here we have a finished section of a Dresden. Now all you're going to do is continue adding little blades all the way until you get all the way around the end, and then you will have something that looks like this. Now how many blades you're going to have going around is going to be dependent on how wide your little Dresden plates are. So you can have really kind of chunky ones and you would only have maybe 8 going around. These ones are pretty thin. I think this one had 16 going around. And if I place it on my cutting mat, you can see the line going this way, oops, and the line going this way. So when I sew these together, I'll sew them in quadrants. So I would sew 4 sets of 4. So here's 4 blades, here's 4, here's 4, and then here's 4. And I would sew each of these quadrants by themselves first and then sew them together. I think it's a little bit easier than just going, you know, going, because it can get kind of wonky when you do that. So I like to sew them in quadrants, and then I'd sew these 2 together and these 2 together, and then sew the top half to the bottom half to complete my Dresden. So that's how you do Dresdens. These are super easy. And then typically you're going to applique them onto a finished block. And so normally what I will do is just spray a little bit of 505 spray on the back side of this, center it on, you know, a larger plain square of fabric. Make sure it's on there good. Sometimes I'll pin it down just to make sure it doesn't move. Once the Dresden is basted, I'll take it to my machine and sew just around the outside edges using about a 1/8 inch seam allowance. As you can see, each time I hit one of those intersections or a point, I'll leave my needle in the down position, pivot my fabric, and then just keep sewing. And you're just going to sew all the way around the outside edge. One little tip I have when sewing around the outside edges is to make sure that your needle gets right all the way to where those 2 different fabrics meet, so your needle is right in that crease right there, and then you can pivot your fabric and keep going, and that'll keep your stitch line nice and even all the way around. So here it is. It looks pretty cute. The next thing I'm going to do is find a circular object that's roughly the right size. Some rulers actually come with a circle template. And then I'll go ahead and trace that on some fabric. And I am just using a print fabric plus a scrap piece of white fabric. You can also use interfacing if you prefer. And then I'm just going to sew right around the edge of that circle, just using that circle as a guide for the foot of my machine. And then once that's done, I'm just going to trim off. I trim a little bit less than 1/4 inch all the way around, so get close to those stitches but not too close. And then I'm just going to grab my fabric and pull it apart so that I have just that white piece of fabric or your interfacing. And then you're going to cut a little X in that. You really just need a hole big enough to turn your circle inside out. Then you can turn your piece inside out, and using this Hera marker, I'm using the rounded edge of the Hera marker. Now here I'm actually pressing a little bit more on the blue printed fabric and not on the white. That way the blue will kind of roll over the top of the white, and when you stitch your circle down, you won't be able to see that white peeking out from underneath. And you can either press it with an iron or a seam roller. And then I'm just going to center it on my Dresden, and I'm not even going to spray base this one. I just pin it into place. Then I'm going to take it to my machine and just run a top stitch all the way around the outside edge, again about a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Here's our finished Dresden. I think it turned out really cute, and then you can use this for any project you want. You can make a whole quilt of Dresden blades, or you can use that as an accent on a bag or another small project. We used one that was this size to make this adorable little zipper bag, and we just went ahead and pre-made our Dresden plate, appliqued it on to the fabric, just like I said, and then turned that piece of fabric into a little zipper pouch. You can also use these to adorn like a tote bag, or I put one on the pocket, the side pocket of my weekend tote. That was really cute. So there's a lot of things you can do with these Dresdens, and they're a perfect way to use up scraps as well, because as you can see, you really just need small little bits of fabric, and you can just put them all together and then create something really cute and fun. So that's it for today's video, the Dresden plate block. It's super fast and easy, and it's a great stash buster. I will make sure to link my April Quilty Truck of the Month right below this video so you can put all of those fun Dresden skills to work. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That way I know to keep making these fun videos for you. You can also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming fun. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable backwards Dresden block. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be showing you how to make this adorable Dresden block. That's not in focus. This 4K is tricky. I am off my game today. Thanks so much for joining me for today's video.